Love Island star Kyle Ashman was sensationally axed from the show last night after The Sun alerted bosses that he was arrested on suspicion of a machete attack. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone is having a nice day. Before we begin the video, please subscribe and give the video a thumbs up. ITV chief sent him home from Majorca, plunging the show into chaos ahead of Monday's launch. Masked thugs stormed a wake in Stafford and hacked at a dad with a blade in February. Ashman, 23, was one of two quizzed but released with no further action. Sources said the channel was unaware of the incident and he was not flagged as part of contestant checks. The victim, 38, nearly lost his arm. He was rushed to hospital for emergency treatment and kept in for around 2 weeks. Another mourner was glassed, one struck with a metal pole, and 2 people run over by a car during the 15 minutes of terror at a social club in Stafford. Ashman, who lives in the town, was one of 2 men to be nicked on suspicion of a fray then bailed. Police confirmed yesterday that after the matter had been investigated the pair were released with no further action only last month. A source said, "This was a horrific attack which could have been even worse. Ashman may have signed up to one of the biggest shows on TV with this hanging over his head." It is not suggested that Ashman, whose job involves laying and repairing water pipes, was involved in the attack. Last night he insisted he was not a violent person. Confirming his show exit, an ITV spokesman said, "For personal reasons, Kyle will not be entering the Love Island villa as planned." The mass brawl broke out at the White Eagle Club on February 28. Sources said 3 balaclava-clad thugs armed with machetes and metal poles stormed the venue and attacked the dad over an alleged £3,000 debt. They attacked him with a blade and left him with a deep gash on his arm, with witnesses wrapping towels over it to stem the bleeding. Pals say he has suffered tendon damage and is unable to drive due to his injuries. Witnesses said the mob made off in a white Vauxhall Astra waiting outside. Around 70 mourners, some elderly and some children, had gathered to pay their respects to local Stanley Reed. Our source continued, "This seemed to be a targeted attack. They knew who they were looking for and where he was." People wrapped a towel around the man's injury while waiting for emergency services. Children were taken into a room and locked in there to keep them away from the violence. People were screaming and crying in fear. They had gathered to pay final farewells to a man who was really well respected within the local community. They could have killed someone that night. They are nothing but scumbags. They ruined what was a lovely send-off for a good person. Staffordshire police said yesterday, "We were called to a social club on Riverway, Stafford, at 7:40 p.m. on Friday, February 28 following reports that someone had been glassed outside and a fight was taking place. Some of the men involved were wearing masks and were carrying weapons. 2 men went to hospital after suffering injuries at the scene. Both have since been discharged. A man and a woman suffered minor injuries at the scene but did not want any medical treatment. Officers have reviewed CCTV footage and have been actively carrying out inquiries to find out more about what happened. A 22-year-old man from Stafford was arrested on suspicion of wounding in a fray. Another man, also 22 and from Stafford, was arrested on suspicion of a fray. Both were questioned in custody and bailed with conditions while our inquiries continue. A force spokeswoman later confirmed that both suspects had been released with no further action last month. Ashman said last night, "I fully cooperated with this police investigation and made it very clear that I had no involvement in this incident. I am not a violent person and any suggestion otherwise is a mischaracterization." A show source said, ITV were entirely unaware of Kyle's past and, as he was not charged, it was not flagged as part of Love Island's stringent DBS checks. Suspects released. It's only right he can now return home to the UK to share his side of the story, and therefore bosses took the decision that it was best for him not to enter the villa. Contestants typically sign up months in advance of the show, which is celebrating its 10th anniversary. The launch episode of last year's summer series was watched by 3.3 million fans. ITV yesterday officially announced the new lineup and released images of contestants, with Ashman showing off his six-pack. Asked about the type of Love Islander he would like to couple up with, Ashman said, "Someone who is fun, confident and just themselves. Asked if host Maya Jama would hire or fire you based on your flirting skills alone, he replied, "I'd say I'd be hired. I just go with it, find something to compliment a girl on and go from."